mic is live, the stage is set. Words like fire you won't forget. Every topic, every thread. Living stories in your head. Turn it up, feel the beat ignite. Conversations flowing bright. In your ears, day or night. This is the sound that feels so right. Mic is live, the stage is set. Words like fire you won't forget. Every topic, every thread. Living stories in your head.
As always, everything we discuss is for entertainment and is speculation. Please like and subscribe, and definitely join our discussion in the comments. If you're ready, let's get into it. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Typically Unique. Hi, Witchy. How are you? Waiting for the hearing to start. I hope I have the right tab pulled up. I'm on the Ada County live stream site, so it just says that the stream hasn't started yet. So I'm waiting, and I thought while I was waiting, we could listen to the Dylan audio again. I listened to it last night. I fell asleep to it. But I think there's a lot to pick out of it. Oh, I know. And it always seems like there's these stock images. We always get the same ones all the time. Yeah. Sorry if I look a little raw and rough this morning, but we don't have water. When I do my walk and talks, I've been walking down by the main road by my house, and they've been replacing all the fire hydrants along a really long road, and I think they're actually hooking up the water today. So I don't know. Waiting. You'd think they'd notify customers, but they haven't. Oh, you haven't heard it yet. All right. Let me just check to make sure. I don't see the stream started yet. Yeah, I mean, I don't have to go anywhere. So I'm like, okay. Yeah, my daughter's homesick. She's upstairs sleeping. So it's not really too much of a big deal with no water right now. And this audio is posted by Outcast. So he posted just, no interruptions, just the audio last night. So I thank him for that. Go give his channel where he posted it a thumbs up.
17th of November, 2022 at 12:05 p.m. at her residence. And give me your address again.
Yeah.
You know the zip code?
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Witchy.
I think.
I didn't sleep the past few days.
And then do you have a cell phone number?
Yes, it's.
So I didn't ask Sergeant Blaker, do you have her cell phone? You probably have her cell phone.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the number attached to your cell phone. So you know why we're here? We're here to talk about what happened over the weekend?
Yeah.
So can I ask, what year are you in school up there?
I'm a sophomore.
And what's your major? And you've been there both years?
Yeah.
And how long have you been living in that house?
Just since the beginning of August.
So how did you end up in the house with the girls?
My best friend in sorority have bigs and littles. Madison Mogan is, and she reached out to some of us to live with her, and I knew her pretty well, and that's how I got to live there.
Where did you live your freshman year?
House.
So you've always been in a sorority?
Yeah.
Okay. So is your friend?
Yeah, she was in with me as well, and we moved in together into that house.
And how did the other girls come to live with you?
Xana is a year older than me, and she also knew Maddie, and Maddie reached out to her. Kaylee Goncalves is her lifelong best friend. They're like sisters. Maddie also reached out to her to live with her because they always needed to fill up rooms.
And did you know them before this semester?
Yes.
Through the sorority?
I knew Maddie and Xana through the sorority beforehand, and I'd gone over to the house with Maddie and her roommates, and she had Kaylee over a lot, and I saw her and met her a few times.
And was Kaylee part of the sorority in your freshman year?
She is a senior, but she was in.
So Kaylee just through connections with Maddie came to live with you.
Yeah.
Otherwise you didn't know her before the introduction through Maddie and Xana.
Yeah.
Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Yeah.
So how well did you know the 3 other girls besides before you moved in?
Pretty well. Me and Maddie and Xana hung out a lot. My was best friends with Xana, so I was at their house a lot, and I knew Xana pretty well.
What's last name? How do you spell that? And she doesn't live in the house at all?
No, she lives across the street at the White's apartment with my friend as well, who is I think she's actually a year older, I believe.
You moved in August, and then, because I haven't been in the house, where was your bedroom?
So obviously, when you walk in, you have the door. Right in front of you is the downstairs bathroom. When you go to the bathroom and take a left, that is the room. Again, looking at the bathroom, take a right, that is just an open spare room. When you first walk in the door and take a left, there's stairs. Those stairs go right into the living room. When you're in the living room, you can go right, which when you go right to the hallway, there's like this hallway right here. There's a bathroom here and Xana's room right here. If you don't go in that hallway, you just go straight. You can see the stairs that go up to the 3rd floor. Right next to the stairs on the left is my room. To the right of the stairs is the kitchen and the sliding door. When you walk up the stairs to go to the 3rd floor, right immediately to your left is Katie's room. You can look kind of diagonally to your right, and there's the bathroom, and then fully to the right is Maddie's room.
So it's a tri-level?
Yeah.
And you're on the same floor as Maddie and Kylie?
I'm on the same floor as Xana.
As Xana?
Yeah.
So maybe I missed that. I'm sorry. So where is Kaylee and Maddie's room?
They're 3rd floor.
Okay. And you're 2nd?
Yes.
Okay. And who's in the basement?
Just.
Okay. I'm sorry, you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
We're going to have to walk you through some tough questions. Are you going to be okay with that?
Yeah.
So tell us about Saturday. Let's talk about the 12th.
Okay.
The day of the game. What time did you get up on the 12th?
I don't even know. We had formal and we had a little party on Friday, so obviously a lot of us were pretty drunk that night. I don't remember exactly when I woke up. We started drinking champagne right off the bat.
Tell me what formal is. So like a ball?
Kind of like that. Me and my friend ended up not going to formal. We went to the house and then just came back home and like kept drinking and partying at my house. And then it was like more of a smaller party. It was people that we were closer to, just mostly not like everyone else.
They came to your house?
Yeah.
Who was in your house that night? On the night of on the Friday night? You're saying the
So
Friday night.
obviously all the roommates, Ethan and my friend and her, I guess her boyfriend wasn't there, and her boyfriend, they brought, and I guess she brought her friend. Yeah, it was like all of our friends and their dates.
You knew everyone that was there?
Yes, they're mostly all of them were except for the dates. There was a few freshmen there. I believe it was, and they had their dates. I don't remember who they were. They were of some sort.
Meaning?
A fraternity.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Not from cultural.
No.
Okay, just got to clarify,
Yeah.
right?
I'm trying to think of who else. Oh, we had our friend. I don't think she brought a date, and then later brought her date, and then I believe that was all.
Is your first name?
Yeah. Well, I guess you could say.
And
Yeah.
how long did the party go from the 11th to the 12th?
We started, I believe, around 4:30. Some of us, so when you have a formal, you have a sober hour. All the that were wanting to go, we got a ride from a sober person at 7:20. We had to be at the house before 7:30. We were at for, I would say, maybe 30, 40 minutes. And then Kaylee was my date with me, so she came with me.
Request for restitution. The state can argue first.
Thank you, Your Honor. The attached documentation, it doesn't appear that there's a question about the amounts. I think the question that has been raised is whether the propriety of any additional restitution being ordered at this point. Yesterday afternoon, we did receive a supplemental filing from the defense, and I want to respond to that just for the record before I address the merits of the restitution requests themselves. As we indicated in our response to the defense objection to the additional restitution request, at the time that we entered into the plea agreement, Ms. Jennings and I were under the impression that crime victims' compensation could be available to cover reimbursement of travel expenses. And I have to clarify that now. It is true that before trial, the families approached our office asking if there were any resources we were available to pay in advance for travel expenses or expenses related to them attending trial itself. And we looked into that, our staff looked into that, and advised them no. It was my understanding, and I'm mistaken. I realized I was mistaken at this point, but it was my understanding back in early July, late June, when we were talking about the plea agreement, that crime victims' compensation could be available to reimburse expenses like that. I now know that's not correct, and it was certainly my mistake. I will own it as far as our state of mind going into the plea agreement. So that being said,
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I'll let you finish the point on the plea agreement, and then I have a question for you about that.
And I was just finishing that point, Your Honor, so this would be a good time.
Okay. So it's pretty well settled that plea agreements are interpreted as contracts, which they are. I think it's pretty well settled contract law that a unilateral mistake does not relieve one of its contractual obligations and restrictions. So how can I how can I order this restitution if the express terms of the plea agreement, though mistaken understanding by the state, don't allow such extra crime victims compensation fund reimbursement?
And Your Honor, I recognize that, and that's what I was just getting ready to address. In response to the defense's objection, the state has modified or adjusted our position on the restitution. We are, pursuant to the plea agreement, seeking restitution for the funeral-related expenses, which are the urns that are described in Exhibit 2 to our response. We are not affirmatively advocating for the travel expenses and lodging expenses of the family because we do not believe that we can legally advocate for those. At the same time, the families provided those to us, and we want to provide them to the court and counsel just so everybody was aware that they are there, but we are not arguing affirmatively for that because of the wording of the plea agreement itself. So what the state is actually requesting today is just additional restitution for the funeral-related expenses, which are the urns for the families.
Okay, thank you. And you can address the other issues as well.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, which other issues?
Well, the issues, if you'd like, raised in opposition to your motion, including the lack of ability to pay by a defendant and et cetera.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. I apologize. The defendant has raised the issue of his alleged inability to pay, and we recognize that he's going to be incarcerated until he dies. But that in and of itself doesn't mean that over the course of the balance of his life, he might become, he might receive assets. And in fact, we attached a breakdown of the types of monies that he has received during his incarceration. We also noted the statute that allows the treasurer to intercept prospective monies that might be received based on any attempted publication of the story of the defendant. And those, if received, would be something that a restitution order could be enforced against. We also note that the language of the statute and the case law interpreting the restitution statute, which is 1953-04, if I believe off the top of my head, talks about current inability to pay is not necessarily a block to the order of restitution. It's just merely a factor for the court to consider. And it is our position, given the relative youth of the defendant, the fact that he has been receiving significant monies during his incarceration already, and that there is the possibility of future monies, whether by virtue of the statute with the treasurer impounding proceeds from a story related to this, or perhaps from an inheritance from his family or others. We can't see into the future. We don't have a perfect crystal ball. The state's position is having this additional restitution place, which is really fairly minimal, would be appropriate. And have them available that if the defendant comes into assets, that the families would be able to try to satisfy the restitution orders from them.
Thank you. And then who's arguing for defense?
I will be, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you. Given that the state has clarified its position that it's only seeking reimbursement for the earns, it's my understanding that that amount is $1,420 for one family, $1,587.79, and then another $167.79, which would be a total, I believe, if my math is right, of $3,075.58. My understanding of reading the Victims Compensation Code 1953-04 is that the court must still do an analysis on Mr. Koberger's ability to pay. And as the state has addressed, we are arguing that he does not have an ability to pay. While there have been lump sums provided to you regarding some funds that he received prior to his plea agreement, what the court does not have is a breakdown of how those funds came into the inmate system for his expenses and the fact that they were primarily family. Certainly his situation pre-plea and sentencing was drastically different than it is right now in terms of money that is available to him. And there's nothing in the record to provide the court with anything other than what is really speculation based on the past, as opposed to something that the court might be able to rely upon about foreseeability. There's no way that Mr. Koberger is ever going to profit from any sort of movie or book because Idaho Code 1953-01 specifically precludes that.
Well, it precludes, it allows that monies are swept from his account for those income to pay certain things. If those certain things, if there's no debt for those certain things, then does the money not go then to the defendant?
That is not my reading of the code. Perhaps I'm reading that statute more broadly than the court is. I understood it to be that the purpose is that someone can't then profit off of their crime pursuant to that statute. I guess I need to read it with that broad implication.
Even allowing your reading of it, what's to prevent, for example, a family member from agreeing to, provide information, be a part of, et cetera, a story, movie, book, whatever, TV series about the murders, about Mr. Koberger, and that certainly wouldn't be monies they receive wouldn't be subject to the statute, and then they certainly would be free to send Mr. Koberger money to his account. What harm is it to order the restitution, which would then sort of jump in line in terms of priority of payments over some of the other ordered payments, such that if Mr. Koberger does receive money into his accounts from any source, that he's then, that those monies are then put to that use. Certainly, we're not worried about Mr. Koberger's credit rating with having debts at this point. I'm not sure what the concern would be to, given the uniqueness of this case and the potential for family members, et cetera, to earn money from it, and potentially we've seen members of the public send money to Mr. Koberger, is my understanding, to his books. What's the downside to ensuring that the victims are as whole as possible from this by ordering the restitution, which again would jump in line from some of the other court-ordered fines, et cetera? And if the money's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not.
Judge, I don't see that Idaho code or Idaho law asks the court to make an analysis on the downside, but whether or not there is foreseeability of payment. And all of the things that you just listed are pure speculation. There is no book or movie that's in the works by any of his family, and to say that those things are going to happen is absolutely speculative, and there's nothing to substantiate those sorts of assertions happening in the future. So
Well, there's a history in the 3 years he was incarcerated of him receiving 5 figures put on his books. Doesn't that give the court some history to suggest that such contributions from whatever source may continue into the future?
As I stated earlier, Judge, that was at a different time in the case. That was at a time when, he had not entered a plea. He was not deemed convicted of the crime. The money, a lot of that money was coming from his family to be able to have communications with their son and brother. And to speculate that those types of dollars are going to be able to happen for the next many decades is exactly that. It's pure speculation, not based on something that is foreseeable or based in something that's in fact before this court.
Well, it just seems to me that one of the, really, obviously, even application of statute requires the court to look at what might happen into the future. And I guess, it seems to me one of the best indicators of the future is the past. And in the past, his family has, you're saying the family was the source of much of these funds, has provided him funds in order for him to communicate, et cetera. That necessity will still exist going forward. I'm not aware of his family having disowned him at this point and not wanting any contact with him. And even if they are, that doesn't mean that won't change. And you call it speculation. It seems to me that it is good evidence of what may occur in the future in light of what has occurred in the past.
Well, Judge, there is a judgment against him in the amount of $28,000, and certainly 20% of every dollar that goes into his inmate account is going to go towards paying that $28,000. Another factor that the court actually can look at under 1953-04 subsection 7 is other factors, and those factors that other factors that the court deems appropriate, and that can be collateral resources that the families obtained over $200,000, which definitely reimburse the cost of the earns in terms of economic costs.
I also want to turn to the plea agreement, Because isn't a reasonable interpretation of the plea agreement that the defendant will not contest the state's seeking of restitution that is outlined in the plea agreement? Otherwise, why would it need to be in the plea agreement? It seems to me it's the plea agreement, a reasonable interpretation is the defendant is agreeing to pay restitution for those items that are identified in the plea agreement, which includes victims' compensation, which includes in this case funeral expenses. So you took advantage of the plea agreement to get the benefit of the bargain regarding the state's dropping of the death penalty. Why should you not be held to the plea agreement to pay the victims the costs of interning their children?
Judge, I believe that our pleading was clear, that we understood that urns fell underneath a funeral cost, but that once we have a hearing on this matter, that doesn't eliminate the court's duty under 1953-04 to do the ability to pay analysis. And that's why.
Well, are you in violation of the plea agreement by arguing that your client shouldn't have to pay those?
We are not in violation of the plea agreement. If there was any violation of the plea agreement that took place, it's the state seeking this when the other expenses, when it was clear under statute and under the Idaho Victims Compensation rules that those were not reimbursable expenses.
But they've effectively withdrawn those requests and are seeking what's outlined in the plea agreement. What's the point of the plea agreement on restitution if the defense is able to argue against the restitution called for in the plea agreement itself?
Judge, again, in our pleading, we objected to what the state has withdrawn as of this moment at this hearing today.
Right.
We acknowledge that the urns were funeral expenses.
Right.
But once we're in a situation of having a hearing, then this other section about whether or not he has an ability to pay is triggered. We stipulated to $28,000 in restitution within 60 days.
Right.
He met the terms of the plea agreement.
But it also says the state may seek restitution regarding funeral expenses, and they're simply identifying additional funeral expenses.
I don't know what more you want me to say about the urns other than
what's the point of the plea agreement if you're not going to be bound by it?
I agreed that it was $3,075.58.
But you say you shouldn't have to pay it.
What I said was that the court needs to do the analysis under Idaho code about his ability to pay.
Why hasn't the defendant waived his right to rely on that ability to pay by agreeing to those expenses as part of the plea agreement?
I don't know how the court can enter this order today without engaging in the analysis under Idaho code because it's required. That's the way I review the case law and the code, that once there's a hearing about restitution, then the court has to engage in the analysis on the ability to pay.
So the agreement to pay is illusory.
No, he agreed to $28,000. We've agreed that the urns fall underneath.
Does he have the ability to pay that?
No, he does not have the ability.
So why did you agree to it?
Because it was a specific, we were provided with those receipts within 60 days. We were not provided with the receipt for the urns within 60 days.
So is your objection then a timeliness objection?
We did raise a timeliness objection in our pleading. I had thought about that and whether or not I think that it is a really valid argument to say that that's completely jurisdictional. I didn't to mean that the court can't take this under the review at this point in time. I didn't read the judgment language in such a strict fashion that I felt like we could say 61 days means the court's not going to not going to consider it at all. So it is past your 60-day deadline, but I don't know that that is completely jurisdictional in the way that you drafted your judgment.
Anything else?
No.
Thank you. Mr. Thompson, any rebuttal?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, thank you. I'll take the matter under advisement, issue an opinion in due course.
Oh my God, Bill had to say nothing. Nothing. That's crazy. Oh my goodness. Hitler just argued their whole case, right? Am I crazy? Okay, Brooke, thanks for joining. Hit that like button on the way out. You probably have already. Oh my goodness. Wow, wow, wow. I mean, my mind is kind of half focused on what I'm hearing and then reading the chat and all of that. So I did write down some things. I did not pay any attention to what Bill said initially. So he made an initial statement by saying what we're here for today, what we're asking for, correct? I heard the numbers of 28,000. And then the defense said an additional $3,075. Let me know in the chat if you heard different numbers than that. He thanked him for making the case. Oh my gosh. Like, I'll relate this to like my field. Like, I know that like with teachers, there's some teachers that are like such close friends and they've worked together for so long. One of them will tend to lean on the other one a little bit more. And for some reason, and this is probably in every field, like all of us can probably think of people that like act like this. Like one person seems to do all the work and the other one just kind of rides the coattails kind of thing. Like, how did Bill and Hitler get to have that kind of relationship? They're in two different court districts, right? So I don't know. That's weird. But Hitler did all the arguing. That's crazy. That's crazy. So basically, the defense was saying, we need you, like we're arguing this and fighting against this request for additional restitution because of his ability to pay. Like, we're asking the court to dive into, look at his situation. Having $0 is going to be $0 forever. He's never going to be able to pay it back. And then Hitler's, the defense, I'll go through the defense's points. So the defense said that the money that they're claiming he has, like these lump sums of money, came prior to the plea deal. I don't know if the law addresses that or not. Was it already spent? I don't know. And she said it was also mostly from family, although they did say that there was money contributed from the public. With the no profit law, I thought it was interesting that Hitler made it seem like Brian could profit as long as he's paid all of his restitution back. So if I'm just making up numbers, if he profits $1 million off of a book someday or something, and he owes 500,000 and he pays all his restitution, then he's entitled to keep whatever's left. That seems to be what Hitler was arguing. And I would think the defense would want to fight against that if the prosecution's wanting to claim all of it, because they probably would want Brian to have that for his defense money. If he's going to appeal in the future, he's going to need money. So maybe the defense, because I kept thinking, like, if Brian told his attorneys, I did this and I'm guilty and I'm going to plea, why would they be fighting this so hard? Why would they care? Like, if they're going to plan an appeal in the future and they need funding for that, I think it would be more of an issue. Is that crazy? Oh, okay, thanks. Thanks, Witchy. So yeah, the defense worded it as analyzing Brian's ability to pay and the foreseeability of payment. Like, would he be able to pay? Yeah, so I think the prosecution's going after this because they want to thwart Brian being able to amass a fund that he would be able to use to mount a defense in the future. I think that makes sense. These are just my speculations. These are my thoughts and opinions. I'm probably wrong. I really don't know. I'm just looking at what I heard and jotted down, and these are my ideas. You can let me know if you disagree or have a different idea. I'm open to hearing all of that. But it seemed like the prosecution was trying to thwart that. They don't want him to have any money. Yeah, that's basically what I got out of all of that, besides the fact that it was I haven't seen a hearing. I think because in other hearings, it's gone like back and forth, defense, prosecution, with Hippler like chiming in all the time. This one was prosecution speaks, defense speaks, Hippler takes over the show and speaks for the prosecution the entire time, and then it's over. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I just think that makes the most sense, right? It's about money for his defense, in my opinion, I think. And based on what all is coming out, I just told Carlos this morning, I said, oh my gosh, because we've been like crossing paths. You know how you do that sometime with your partner, just passing for a couple days. And we were communicating this morning through text, and I'm like, there's been like just information dump and all this stuff coming out. It's been a whirlwind like the past 48 hours of everything with the interviews and the body cam footage and Lana going over the DNA information. It's so much. It's so much. And Bill has no comment. Yeah. Nope. Nothing else to say, Your Honor. Thanks for doing it for us. Oh my goodness. Crazy. I need to peek outside. I'm supposed to do my walk. And I'm looking outside. It's supposed to rain at 3:00. It's 12:30, but it is like the high 50s, but it's real windy. So I'm deciding if I should maybe I'll just stay on instead of going outside. I don't know. Do you guys really want to see me go suffer out there in the weather? Although I wanted to take a minute. So on my walk today, I was going to just give my overall thoughts about the case. So I think I am going to do that, but I need a little break first. I need to go collect my thoughts because I listened to the Dylan audio last night before I went to bed. I listened to Bethany's interview, her long interview this morning. Lana showed that on her channel. So if you haven't had a chance to see that yet, that was really interesting. No suffering. I'm dealing enough with the water. Right. I know, but I'm like, I need to walk. I need the exercise too. So what else was there? Oh my goodness. The Gunderson. Did you see the body cam footage that Lana showed with him saying she heard screaming, what the heck? They didn't call 911 and they heard their roommate screaming. Like I was like, yes, finally. Like how much we all got, what's the what's the word I'm looking for? Scolded on the internet for like, how dare you say anything, even implying negativity towards those roommates. And here a cop was saying it from day one. It was like the moment they were outside the house after they found the bodies, he said it. So no, we're not crazy for saying that. Like that's a typical, in my opinion, response, especially seeing a police officer say it. So yeah, there's been so much. But I definitely have an opinion now about Brian's plea deal. It's been a journey to get there, but I think I'm pretty solid on how I feel about that. So I want to share that and my opinions about the walks, or yeah, about the interviews and things like that. So thank goodness you missed what, Dizzy? The police officer? Oh, like getting scolded on the internet about all that. I've been thinking about that too. I don't even remember the day that I heard about the case. I can't remember like where I was, where I saw it. And once I did, I was only on TikTok at the time. Like I wasn't really a YouTuber. I was just on TikTok. And so there were people, a few channels on there that they were going live all the time. It was every night, hours and hours and hours of lives and videos. And I could do like a whole book on like the history of the social media around Brian Kohberger and Idaho 4. I feel like I was there for a lot of it, like the origin of Dot and a lot of wars between creators over this case. I mean, it has been a crazy journey. It's very satisfying now to be getting actual footage and documents. Oh, thank goodness he said it. Yes. What a find to have that. I agree. Yeah, most people were like, "What? 8 hours?" Yeah, that was crazy. There's a lot of, no, I can't say a lot. There are a couple things that there's two things that I saw way early on before Brian Kohberger was arrested. It was on TikTok, and there was a video, and I believe it was footage from the Linda Lane cameras. It had to have been. I don't know where else it would have come from. I wasn't very astute at like making sure where things were from and what's the source and all of that way back then. I was just a watcher, and there was a video. I'm trying to think. It might have been just audio because you don't see the person. So it might have just been audio, or showing like whatever security camera it was. Like if it was focused on the parking lot, you could see the parking lot, but you could hear somebody open a door, and it sounded like it was from a top floor, like second or I don't know how many floors there are over there. Go out onto so you're imagining what you're hearing. Go out onto the balcony. And they were singing the most creepiest. It was like a hardcore heavy metal song that had a deep meaning, murderish meaning to it. It just gave me the creeps. And it was like, it wasn't at night. It was like early in the morning. It was like right before the sun was coming up, or right at the break of dawn, like that time. Like you can hear the birds chirping, but it's still kind of dark outside. Never seen or heard that video again. I can't remember who had it. I'm sure someone has it. I should go back and like look at all those creators' pages. So that's one thing that's always stuck with me. And then the other video that I saw way back in the day was a car pulling up, like if you go straight past the house up where I think it dead ends, but it's lined with trees on one side and the apartments on the other side. You could see, and it might have been when the Banfield footage came out. I think it was around the same time the Banfield footage came out. You could see headlights. So it might have been from a vantage point from the Banfield, but I don't know how you would know it was up there. But anyways, the footage was of car headlights turning like towards the house through the trees, and you have to watch the lights. So you can watch the lights like go forward, back up, turn around. And that was an early video that I haven't seen again. So yeah, it's been a crazy ride. So you guys all know, it was so frustrating for the times where nothing new was coming out. So we kind of were like, okay, we've rehashed and rehashed and rehashed everything. So I kind of think we've hit the turning point. Last night when I was watching, or yesterday when I was watching Lana go over the DNA evidence, I'm like, I think we've hit a turning point. With what I mean by that is going from speculation based on evidence and footage that we're seeing to, wow, this is really like some concrete, verifiable assumptions. We still have to call it like assumptions like that because we're not law enforcement. We don't have absolutely everything, but I just think it's made that turn. Like we're starting to be able to prove things, to prove them. So that's amazing. I'm glad for that. Let's see, members that were in here today. I know Brooke, Kane, Witchy. Let me see if I can get my mouse to work. Wanted to say a special thanks to the members. And I think that was everybody. Kib Kitty was in here. I love Kib Kitty. Skull's a member too. And Ahmad, Kane, and the Skull. Thankfully, there were no crazies in here today. Wait for my walk. They always show up. When I do my walk, I don't know what it is. Oh, that's what I wanted to end with. You guys, I was a poll worker yesterday at our elections. Oh my gosh. It was I was there for almost 14 hours. I got there before almost right at 6 a.m. and I was there till almost 8 p.m. It was torture. I can't say torture, but it was such a long day. Oh my gosh. And eye-opening. And I got yelled at because I took pictures because I wanted to show you guys. Like every time I do something, I try to document it. Cause I'm like, oh, I want to share this with you guys. And she's like, you can't do that. You can't take pictures here. I'm like, I'm deleting them. I didn't know. So I was a lawbreaker for a minute. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know. I just wanted to show my friends. Yes. When you vote, please thank your poll workers because it's not fun. It's long, boring. I got to leave for 1 hour for a lunch. I could get up and go to the restroom, do it. They're very flexible. You can get up and walk around, do what you need to do, but it's a very long day. Very long day. I'm going to take a little break and collect my thoughts about what I've gathered over the past couple days with stuff coming out, and then I'm going to go live with my walk. So Dizzy, Jezebel, thanks for being here. when I see your name, I laugh because my grandmother was like this little old Italian lady, like with the wooden spoon, and like she didn't like speak Italian all the time, but boy, there were some words. And sometimes she would call me a Jezebel. When I was like little, I'm like, I didn't know what that was. Like, what are you doing? Like, I'm sure she didn't mean it in the way that it means, but she just meant like I was giving her a hard time or something. I don't know. But when I see that word, it just reminds me of that. That's funny. That's funny. Okay, everybody, go take a break, get something to eat, whatever. I hope you'll join me back for my walk. I'll wait and see who's on, or try to get that in before other people go on. I'm sure Lana's still talking about the hearing or whatever. Delilah, is that worse? I don't think that's worse. And Kabados, she would always say Kabados. That means like hard head, or like they always told me it meant hard head, but I'm sure it meant a swear word or something. But so funny, so funny. Oh, you think it's worse? Oh no, see, I don't know that one. I'm gonna Google it. I'll have to look it up. That's funny. Okay, I'll be back in a little bit. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for watching, hope you felt the spark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. Subscribe, it's free and keeps us going strong. You're part of the crew now, right where you belong. Join us next time, same truth, same fire. We bring the heat and never tire. We're typically unique and proud to be a husband and wife in podcast harmony. That could be